The leather chair in Wilson Global's reception area felt oddly familiar. Probably because I'd spent countless hours waiting here as a child while my father, the great Thomas Wilson, ran his empire. Today, though, I wasn't waiting to beg for his attention. I was here to buy his company. 3 months had passed since that fateful family dinner. The scene played in my mind with crystal clarity. Dad at the head of the table, Manhattan's skyline glittering behind him through the penthouse windows, delivering his annual assessment of his children's worth. James, excellent work on the merger. That's my boy, a true Wilson. My older brother beamed, MBA credentials practically glowing. And Sarah, darling, the new retail division is thriving. My sister straightened in her designer suit, their father's perfect corporate princess. Then his gaze had turned to me. Alexander, still playing with your little computer projects, I see. You know, there's always a place for you here. Entry level, of course. Need to earn your way up like everyone else. The irony of that statement, considering James and Sarah had started as vice presidents, wasn't lost on me. Actually, Dad, I'd started, my company is a waste of your potential, he'd cut me off. The Wilson legacy is in real business, not whatever digital nonsense you're chasing. You're my biggest disappointment, Alexander. At least your siblings understand what matters. I'd looked around the table at James's smug smile, Sarah's carefully concealed pity, Mom's practiced neutrality. A decade of similar dinners, similar verdicts, similar dismissals of my work in artificial intelligence and machine learning. None of them had bothered to ask what my little computer projects actually did. Mr. Chin will see you now. The receptionist's voice pulled me back to the present. Michael Chin, Wilson Global's CFO, had been desperately trying to find a buyer for the past month. The company was hemorrhaging money, their traditional business model crumbling in the face of digital transformation. The numbers are challenging, Chin began, spreading documents across his desk. But Wilson Global's fundamentals remain strong. With the right investment I've seen the numbers, I interrupted quietly. Your infrastructure is outdated. Supply chain management is manual. No AI integration. No machine learning optimization. I paused. You're losing $3 million a day. Chen's professional mask cracked slightly. How did you know that? I smiled. The same way I know about the hidden debt, the failed modernization attempts, and the 3 potential buyers who've already walked away. He paled. This information wasn't public. Even most of the board didn't know the full extent of Wilson Global's troubles. Who exactly are you representing? He demanded. I handed him my business card. Simple, elegant, with just 2 words. Alexander Wilson, CEO. CEO of what? Chin frowned. I don't The door burst open. James stormed in, his perfect suit slightly rumpled. Michael, why are you meeting with He froze, seeing me. Alex, what are you doing here? Discussing the acquisition, I replied calmly. Nova Technologies is prepared to offer Nova Technologies? James laughed. The AI company that's been disrupting traditional industries? They'd never. His voice trailed off as realization dawned. Oh, no way. I pulled up Nova's latest quarterly report on my tablet. Revenue, $12.7 billion. Market cap, $89 billion. All built while my family thought I was playing with computers. You're not. James whispered. Nova's founder and CEO? I finished. The same disappointment, who spent 10 years building an AI empire while you and Sarah played corporate dress-up in Dad's company? Yes, actually. Chin was frantically checking his phone, confirming what he was hearing. Nova Technologies, the AI systems, the market disruption. All those digital projects Dad dismissed? I continued. They revolutionized supply chain management, automated industrial processes, and optimized business operations. Everything Wilson Global failed to do. James sank into a chair. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. Every family dinner for 10 years. But Dad was too busy being disappointed to listen. The door opened again. Sarah entered, followed by my father. They stopped short, taking in the scene. What's he doing here? Dad demanded. James, I told you to handle the buyer meetings. He is the buyer, Chin cut in, still staring at his phone. Nova Technologies. The company that's been revolutionizing. That's impossible, Dad scoffed. Alexander can't even run a proper business. He plays with computers. Those computers, I interrupted, just made Nova the most valuable AI company in the world. While Wilson Global lost $90 million last month. The silence was deafening. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the city stretching out below, including Nova's gleaming new headquarters, twice the size of Wilson Global's building. You need a buyer, I continued, pulling out a contract. Someone who understands digital transformation. Who can modernize your operations. Prevent total collapse. I uncapped my pen. Fortunately, your biggest disappointment is feeling generous. Dad's face cycled through a fascinating range of colors before settling on an interesting shade of purple. This is absurd. You expect me to believe that your little computer hobby generated $12.7 billion in revenue last quarter? I pulled up Nova's financial reports on the boardroom's main screen. While Wilson Global lost nearly $100 million. The numbers speak for themselves. Sarah stepped forward, her Louboutins clicking on the marble floor. Unlike James's sputtering denial and Dad's rage, her analytical mind was already processing the implications. The AI systems that destroyed our Asian market share last year, she said slowly. That was Nova? Along with the automated supply chain platform that's been outperforming your traditional networks, I confirmed. Remember when I tried to discuss AI integration at Christmas dinner? Right before Dad told me to stop watching sci-fi movies and learn real business. Chin was still scrolling through Nova's public filings, his face growing paler by the second. The market disruption. The efficiency metrics. This is why our traditional models can't compete. While you were clinging to manual processes and outdated systems, I continued, Nova's AI was optimizing everything from inventory management to predictive maintenance. Technology Dad called digital nonsense is now standard across every major industry. Except here, James muttered, loosening his perfect tie. Because we thought we knew better. Dad slammed his hand on the mahogany table. This is manipulation. You deliberately withheld information. I raised an eyebrow. Like you withheld my trust fund when I refused to join Wilson Global? Or how you withheld my invitation to board meetings once I started Nova. The boardroom fell silent except for the gentle hum of Chen's calculator as he ran the numbers again and again. The acquisition offer is fair, I continued, sliding documents across the table. 40% above current market value, despite your negative growth. We'll absorb all debt, protect employee pensions and maintain the Wilson name as a subsidiary of Nova Technologies. Sarah picked up the contract, her Harvard law training kicking in. These terms, they're actually quite generous considering our position. More than generous, Chin agreed quietly. Given last quarter's losses, we should be grateful for any offer. Dad's face had shifted from purple to ashen. You planned this. All these years pretending to be a failure. I never pretended anything, I cut him off. You chose to see me as a failure because I didn't fit your definition of success. Too busy measuring worth by corner offices and golf club memberships to notice the digital revolution happening in your own family. James was now frantically typing on his phone. Nova stock is up 300% this year. Market cap larger than. He looked up shell-shocked. Little brother, you're worth more than Wilson Global's entire history. The digital nonsense you all mocked? I gestured to the financial reports still displayed on screen. It's the future of business. A future Wilson Global missed because tradition was more important than innovation. Through the windows, the afternoon sun caught Nova's headquarters, a testament to the power of the technology Dad had dismissed. The contrast with Wilson Global's aging building was striking. Sir, my assistant Rachel entered with more tablets. The board is assembled for the virtual vote. And the SEC filing is ready for submission. Dad's head snapped up. What board vote? Nova's board, I clarified. Approving the acquisition of Wilson Global. Though given your recent performance, it was an easy decision. The reality of the situation finally seemed to hit him. His empire, built over 40 years of traditional business dealings, was about to become a footnote in his disappointed son's digital revolution. You can't do this, he whispered, but the fight had left his voice. Actually, Sarah interjected, still reviewing the contract, he can. And given these numbers he should. We're 3 months from bankruptcy without this deal. The shareholders will never approve. James started. They already have, Chin interrupted, checking his terminal. Proxy votes came in this morning. 82% in favor of the acquisition. I spread the final documents across the table. Time to decide, Dad. Does Wilson Global die clinging to the past, or survive by embracing the future? Under your control, he said bitterly. Under the control of the son you called a disappointment, I corrected. The one who saw the future while you were focused on maintaining the past. Rachel appeared with more updates. Sir, the integration teams are ready to begin digital transformation as soon as the papers are signed. Dad stared at the contract, then at the Nova headquarters visible through the window. His empire was crumbling and his only salvation was the son he'd dismissed. The pen works better with the cap off, I said quietly, sliding my Mont Blanc, a gift he'd returned when I refused to join Wilson Global, across the table. The next morning, Wilson Global's lobby hummed with unusual activity. Nova's integration teams moved efficiently through security, carrying equipment that would drag the company into the digital age. The old brass logo behind the reception desk was already being replaced with a sleek digital display. The AI systems will be online by noon, Rachel reported as we entered what used to be Dad's office, now a temporary command center for Nova's transformation team. Initial efficiency projections show a 300% improvement in the first quarter. Dad stood by the window watching his empire transform. The morning headlines screamed about the acquisition. AI giant Nova Technologies acquires Wilson Global. Digital revolutionary buys father's struggling company. Your new office will be on the 3rd floor, I informed him, setting up my laptop. Advisory board position as discussed. Though you'll need to complete the digital integration training first. He turned, yesterday's anger replaced by something more complex. Advisory board? I built this company into near bankruptcy, I finished. Now we'll rebuild it. With AI, machine learning, and all the other technologies you called wastes of time. James and Sarah entered, both looking somewhat shell-shocked in their business casual attire, Nova's dress code being considerably more relaxed than Wilson Global's formal suits. The trading algorithms are incredible, Sarah admitted, clutching her tablet. 10 years of manual analysis automated in seconds. The same algorithms I tried to explain at Thanksgiving dinner, I reminded her. Right before Dad said I was playing video games with the stock market. James loosened his tie, a habit he'd need to break in Nova's tech-focused culture. The supply chain optimization. It's revolutionary. Why didn't you tell us? I did. Every family dinner, every holiday, every chance I got. I pulled up Nova's global operations dashboard. But you were all too busy measuring success by corner offices and country club memberships to notice the digital revolution. The morning sun streamed through the windows, catching the quantum computing servers being installed where Dad's prized antique desk had stood. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. Out with the old, in with the future. Sir, Rachel interrupted, the press is requesting interviews. And the other acquisition targets are calling. Dad's head snapped up. Other acquisitions? Wilson Global isn't the only company that ignored digital transformation, I explained. Though it's the only one I'm saving for personal reasons. Sarah was rapidly scrolling through Nova's public filings. These AI applications, they could revolutionize every industry. They already are, I confirmed. While you were managing dozens of employees, my systems were coordinating millions of operations. That computer hobby, Dad mocked? It just made Nova the most valuable company in our industry. The morning staff meeting would start soon. Wilson Global's first as part of Nova Technologies. Hundreds of traditional business executives would face a choice. Adapt to the digital age or become corporate history. Your digital transformation training begins at 9, Rachel informed my family. Attendance is mandatory, even for former CEOs. Dad stared at his old office, now unrecognizable under Nova's technological upgrade. All these years when we thought you were failing. I was building the future, I finished. One line of code at a time while you were all too focused on the past to see it coming. Through the windows, New York's financial district spread out below, including the gleaming Nova Tower, its AI systems already processing more daily transactions than Wilson Global handled in a year. The business world is evolving, I told them not unkindly. You can either evolve with it or become obsolete. Your choice. Rachel appeared with more updates. The digital transformation was proceeding faster than expected. By sunset, Wilson Global's traditional business model would be as outdated as the brass logo being removed from the lobby. Welcome to the future of business, I announced, heading to the staff meeting. Where success isn't measured by corner offices or family names, it's measured by innovation and adaptation. Dad picked up his visitor badge, a stark reminder of his new reality. You planned this all along? No, I replied honestly. I planned to revolutionize global business. Saving Wilson Global was just a bonus. I paused at the door. Consider it a gift from your biggest disappointment. After all, success isn't about meeting others' expectations, it's about exceeding your own. Even if that means buying your father's company to prove that his disappointment was misplaced. The future of business had arrived at Wilson Global. And it didn't care about tradition, hierarchy, or family names. It only cared about who was ready to embrace change. As I took my place at the head of the conference table, where Dad had once dismissed my digital nonsense, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's proving yourself right. And doing it with enough success to buy their company.